Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more of The Long Dark in what could very well be the final episode of Season 3 in Against All Odds. And before I start this one, I want to preface this with just saying that I know the past couple of episodes I've expressed a lot of frustration. Of course, because I'm recording these in one sitting, I have not had the opportunity to read comments and react to people's thoughts on each one. Hopefully it's all gone well and we've had some constructive discussions. I recognize that negativity can breed negativity, and I don't mean to be negative. What I mean to be is emotionally honest. And when a game mechanic like the cabin fever mechanic that derailed me last episode kicks in the way that it did here, I find it very off-putting. So what I'm going to do with this episode, I'm going to unpause. And I'm going to listen for Fluffy. Now, we have a problem right now. And that problem is that Fluffy's in this dam. I don't have any means to fight Fluffy. My condition is at 20% because I just got attacked by the wolf that was guarding the cattails. I can't rest because I have cabin fever and because there's nowhere to rest here. So, and I'm also hungry. And I don't have any food. The only way that I'm surviving is if I try and strike out into the night. See, it's getting blizzardy outside. That's the other problem. Again, we've had 3 or 4 blizzards in the past maybe 3 days in Mystery Lake. Okay, the only way that I'm going to survive is if I can get to somewhere in the transition zone that has some deer meat, park myself down, make a fire, cook the meat so that my tiredness doesn't kill me, and then somehow trudge back to Coastal Highway without freezing to death. That is what I need to do to survive. I could try and survive. I could try and trudge back into Mystery Lake. I'm going to pause every few seconds while saying this because I want to make sure that I don't hear Fluffy. Fluffy's nearby. Last time I came in, I heard the footsteps immediately and I heard her start charging. So,
rest soon, I'm gonna faint.
Well, yeah, guess what? You can't rest because you have cabin fever on account of bullcrap. So, yeah, I'm one of the most nomadic players. If you happen to just be watching this as your first video of me ever, I apologize. I am one of the most nomadic players you can find in The Long Dark, and the game still threw cabin fever at me. So, that is preventing me from doing a lot of things. But even if I could rest, I couldn't rest here because I don't have a bedroll, which has been another curse of this run. And I think maybe that will be the one sticking point if this is the last episode. I think that'll be the last sticking point with people. Or the one sticking point. Like, people will say, well, if you had a bedroll, everything would have been different. That's totally true. Okay. It seems like the wind has gotten a little better here. If I stay here, I'm blocked from the wind. And there's only 3 minutes left on the fire, though. Crap. I should have been staying by it the whole time. Really seems like a blizzard is coming in, but pretty much what I'm going to do here, I have light. Light is on my side, so I am going to go out into the light. I'm going to go out into the darkness, actually. I do have a stim, which might help me live, if worse comes to worse. So what I need to do here is pick up as many sticks as I can in the night. I'm about to get cold again. As soon as I get cold, my condition's going to start dropping. And that's what's likely going to kill me this episode. And the problem is that I need to start a fire, but I also need food. And I need pretty much for those two things to coincide. I need to... What I mean is that I need to start a fire and feed myself around the same time. Yeah, see, I'm already freezing and my condition is dropping rapidly. And I'm also about to be exhausted, which is going to drop my condition even faster. I don't think I have a way out of this, guys. I think this is it. I'm obviously, I'm moving in a direction. I'm going to do my best, you know, to maybe find a deer corpse in here. Something that could give me... There's a live deer. Not a deer. Hey, buddy. I'm going to do my best to find a deer corpse where I could get some meat. But I would need to harvest that meat. You know? Is that a stick? Yes, that's a stick. I need to pick up all the sticks I can. I can't run because I'm exhausted. Let's go ahead and pick up some birch bark. You never know. Kindling, right? Like, there's a deer corpse.
Oh, I need to find food.
Unfortunately, there's not a spot nearby. Or is there? Hang on. Well, the problem is that I need the fire to be by the corpse. Oh, God. See, this is perfect. And there's 3.8 pounds of meat on it. How long would it take if I just harvested? Take 5 minutes? I don't think I have 5 minutes. You know what? Let's try this. Let's light a fire. I've got 3 sticks. 3 sticks. I should have used my accelerant there. That would have been the smart move.
Come on, little fire.
I really wish I had just a few more sticks. Or some reclaimed wood. I think I've got a book on me that I haven't researched that I might be able to throw on the fire. Maybe. But I think I just did that a moment ago, come to think of it. No, I did that with the shooting book that I didn't need. We are blocked from the wind where we're standing right here. Okay, it's official. We're at 10%. We're going to start getting the ominous music here. Okay. Now I need to get an additional stick. Wherever possible. I do have a stem, which I can use. Alright. Let's try this. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, so the stem... Alright, we are now exhausted. We are no longer cold, however.
I'm so tired. I'm just lay down right here.
So we're about to solve one potential problem. Okay, so hunger is no longer a problem. Cold, however, is. We have 12 minutes. I can't run anywhere, which is a huge problem. I need to find a stick, just to give me an extra 10.
So cold. So cold.
See, that's a branch, not a stick, so that will make the fire go out. I need a stick, damn it. Freezing and exhausted, and we don't have anything near us that can reignite this fire. Screw it. I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. We're freezing. We're exhausted. It's -4 degrees. Our condition is dropping once again. I no longer have a stem. So that was a one-trick pony. If we had had just a little bit more fuel for the fire, We might have pulled it out. The problem is that even if I lived through this night, I don't know that I would have 17% of condition to recover. Like, I don't think I could get back to Coastal Highway on 17% of condition while exhausted. I don't think it'd be possible. One thing I could try and do, actually, I could try... My best shot, actually, I wish I'd thought of this a second ago. My best shot is to make it back to... Well, no, screw it. If I just try and go back to Mystery Lake, then it'll feel even more defeating. So I'm just going to go this way. And pretty much walk into the sunset. It's been a good run. It has. I hate that it ended the way that it did. Not only with my frustration, but the reasons for my frustration. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. I think the thing that's really getting to me is we were so close to being able to start Interloper proper, which is to say we were close to being able to kind of... The wind just would have to be terrible right now, wouldn't it? That's just such a slap in the face. We were close to being able to get the heavy hammer and go back the same way we were the first time we died. But unfortunately... That's not what the game had in mind. There it is, 10%. I haven't seen any more sticks, oddly enough. Even if I wanted to start another fire to warm up, I haven't seen any more sticks with which to start a fire. The only thing I could have done was break down some sticks. But again, breaking down branches to get 3 sticks. But again, that's 10 minutes right there. 10 minutes in the cold. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to walk back to the interior of Mystery Lake. Are you kidding me? Oh man, this is rough. See, I will say, one of the great things about the Long Dark is when things get this intense and you do manage to pull it back, it's the coolest feeling ever. I don't have the means to do that right now. That's a branch. Alright, so we found our way back to the cave. I can't even see anymore where I'm going. Feels like 44 degrees. So we're warming up now because we're back in the cave. But the problem is that we're exhausted, and exhaustion will kill us, the same as everything else will. So let's go ahead and have our last drink here. Yeah, see, we're still down to 3% condition because the exhaustion is killing us, and we can't rest. I have no means to recover energy because I don't have a bedroll. If I had a bedroll right here, then the series would be saved. But you don't start with a bedroll in Interloper. I can't even tell what I'm looking at. It's so blurry. That's the ground. That's a rock. All right, we are almost back up to being out of freezing condition. Here's our previous campfire. This is where we had a campfire previously. As I say the same thing twice in a row using different words. It's a talent of mine. I'll be honest, this episode lasted longer than I thought it would. All things considered. 7 hours darkness left. Actually, the exhaustion is not doing to me what I thought it would. My condition isn't dropping anymore. Interesting. This is, sorry, I know this is very intense. We're like waiting for it to drop or see what happens. It's not going to go up. It's definitely not going to go up. Cabin fever for 6 more hours, so right before dawn. I can't really do anything. If I pass the time, it'll probably kill me, but what I want to see is, I want to watch that number go down. I want to see if that number will go down. If it doesn't go down, I might be able to pass time in here. I just want to give it time to do that. And so far, it's not dropping. And I've been staring at it for a good while, as have we all. I'm sitting here going, I've got 1,000 calories. If exhaustion doesn't kill me, maybe it's just when you try to move when you're exhausted. Let me try this. I'm scooting back and forth. Yeah, maybe it's trying to move when you're exhausted that kills you. I could just try and pass the time, and that would definitely tell us one way or the other. Yeah, let me do that. So this is likely going to kill me. Oh my god. Okay, condition 2%. That answers the question. And it's getting colder in here too. So exhaustion does kill. That answers the question. Let's wait. Let's pass the time a little bit more. 1% saving. And there it is. Okay, so was that 30 or 31? I don't know that I crossed off a number after the last episode. 14 days, 8 hours, 14 minutes. 2 runs in one, very similar. The same wolf attacked me, the same wolf damned me. It didn't kill me this time, but a glitchy Fluffy reappeared. So much to talk about. Again, I opened the episode talking about, honestly, I'm emotionally honest. As a YouTuber, I try to just give my honest reaction. If I'm really enjoying something I'm doing, then I will express that. Although maybe not as much as some of the YouTubers out there. On the other hand, if something really frustrates me, I'll generally let that be known too. And sometimes the frustration piles up. And objectively speaking, I didn't have a bedroll, right? That's the big thing. The bedroll would have changed everything about what just happened. If I just had a bedroll, and I went the entire series without one. I found one the first time, but that's because I went to Desolation Point to get it. The second thing that got me was I was ready to, and this is the one that is less legitimate in my opinion. It depends on how you look at what actually killed me. It was a combination of the weather, cabin fever, and the wolf attacks, which the wolf attacks totally my fault. Like I walked up to where that wolf would be thinking, well, I don't see him. I'm going to go for these cattails. And then sure enough, the wolf was right in my face. And I did exactly what I did the first time, which is I ran without dropping my stuff. And I didn't have any decoys to drop that time, but I could have at least dropped some gear and maybe gotten back to the dam to avoid that wolf attack. So that was my bad. However, the cabin fever, that's on the opposite end of the spectrum, I feel. And that's where I would like to see some discussion had. And I definitely I'm going to raise the point somewhere. I do want to get a chance to get people's reactions first. But I feel that Cabin Fever was a good addition to the game because I do think there are players who do play the system and they find a way to survive as long as they can, as safely as they can, just to rack up their survival count for their own personal ego or for bragging rights or whatever it might be. And so Cabin Fever was put in place so that you couldn't just be indoors all the time. But what about when you are in a survival situation where you don't have any choice but to sleep indoors, and you're not sleeping indoors because you really want to? You're actually outdoors as much as possible, but the weather is confining you. Or the lack of a bedroll is confining you. Is there something about that mechanic that could be tuned? This is the question I have to ask myself. That could be tuned to where what happened to me in the past couple of episodes didn't happen. My main argument being the game saw me as spending a lot of time indoors, so it slapped Cabin Fever on me, but I was really not exploiting the system. I was just like the weather was genuinely bad, and I had to turn back a lot and wait out a couple of storms in a row. And maybe that's part of that's part of the game. The weather can force Cabin Fever. If you get forced to be inside, then Cabin Fever can develop. I want to go back and I want to see other people's opinion on it. And by the way, I want to be clear on this too. I appreciate that there are a number of you watching that are fans of the channel, that support me. But in this particular case, I want honest responses. Obviously, I was very frustrated while all that was happening, but this is something that I intend to at least very strongly consider raising, and your feedback will help me decide how to frame that in such a way as to affect maximum change. I think Cabin Fever should be in the game, but I think, again, the question is there something about what just happened that that justifies that I really shouldn't have gotten it, and that character in that situation would not have Cabin Fever. If that's the case, then there's an argument. If that's not the case, then there's not an argument. But beyond that, it was a fun run. The other thing that I want to talk about is, while these things are the issue, there are a couple of problems with Interloper mode. Interloper's fun. It's intense. It really, really creates the sheer panic mode of playing the Long Dark that I haven't experienced in a long time. That I haven't experienced since I first started playing the game. But obviously, we just saw what some of the problems are, because some of the equipment is so rare. I didn't have access to a bedroll. I died because of that, and some other things. But on top of that, because Interloper forces you to think so hard about going to the Forge, it really becomes kind of a linear experience, doesn't it? Notice how in this season of Against All Odds, we went for 2 whole runs following a very similar path, because the game happened to start me in Pleasant Valley twice in a row. I needed to go to Coastal Highway to check the huts for the hammer first time. Up, Coastal Highway didn't have the huts, didn't have the hammer, time to go to Mystery Lake. Time to look for it. And we found the exact same stuff in Mystery Lake both times. And then we had to go back to Desolation Point and forge stuff. Now, after that point, it gets a little bit more awesome, because then we would have had the chance to craft gear. We would have had a chance to hunt with a bow and arrow. It would have been fun. But what happened instead was just these things kind of got in the way, and we ended up having two very similar runs. And I do not want. I'm not saying season 3 was a bad season. Maybe it was an off season. Maybe some of you equate those with being the same thing. But I don't want this to happen again. And if that means going back down to playing Stalker, not because I don't enjoy the challenge of Interloper, I do, but I don't like it when a challenge becomes BS. And that's how I'm kind of feeling at the moment. Now, after I've slept on this, after I've seen some of your comments, after we've had some good discussion about it, might feel differently. But I want some honest opinions on Interloper, some honest opinions on how this series went, some honest opinions on whether or not you would still find Stalker plays watchable. Let's Plays watchable. Because, I mean, there's still going to be new content coming to The Long Dark, and there's no rule that says, in order for me to cover new content for The Long Dark in an effective way, I have to play on Interloper. No. I am not one of those people that insists on playing the highest difficulty all the time. So I want this to be entertaining for me, and I want it to be entertaining for you. And talking about this process of how this all went will be really helpful. Now, beyond that, I think contained in this season, and the reason this season wasn't a bad season, is there were some of the most epic and intense moments in The Long Dark that I've ever recorded, especially in that first run when we got back to Mystery Lake and survived. That was the reason that I enjoy the Long Dark as much as I do. I'm glad that I captured those kind of moments in a video, and I hope that I continue to have the chance to do that, whether in Stalker or Interloper mode, doesn't matter. But yeah, other than that, it's been a lot of fun. Against All Odds is fantastic. If you missed my mentioning it earlier, my next series in the Long Dark is not going to start right away. We're going to probably jump into a new game. I'm thinking Subnautica, but there's a part of me that's also like, maybe not, maybe something new in the 6 p.m. slot. Maybe something you've never done before. Maybe something more simulation related, since you haven't done that much Sims type of content. Well, not The Sims, but simulation stuff. But probably Subnautica soon after that. But then after that, the next Long Dark series I'm going to do is actually going to be, we'll have Against All Odds season 4 in June. But between now and then, I'm going to do a survival school series in the Long Dark where I play either on Stalker or maybe even on Voyager, and just talk, for the sake of new players, on some of the stuff that you need to really get going. Not necessarily what you need to be really good, because, there are a lot of people who comment on this video. They're a lot better at the game than I am, who are much more into min-maxing and doing every little thing, and some of them much more into playing the system than playing the game, etc. I just want to show people how to play the basic mechanics and how to enjoy themselves while playing without getting crushed by the survival machine, by the survival gauntlet that is the Long Dark. And so that's going to be the plan for the Survival School series, and we'll see when that starts. But anyway, we are nearing 30 minutes on this episode, and I have talked myself to death. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think, particularly since this comes in a look-ahead month, and we can talk about it there as well. So if you didn't see the AMA announcement already, you can ask me questions on the AMA thread. It's either on the AMA video, it's on the subreddit, it's on Twitter, if you can find me on Twitter. But I mean, that's not as much of a forum. And it's also on the Steam group, and you can go there and leave your questions. Then when I get to the look ahead, I will respond. And so I'll be happy to dedicate some of those questions to Against All Odds Season 3, and actually maybe responding to some of the discussion that we have in the comments section of this video. So, and of the last view, because it's certainly been a frustrating run. So again, thanks very much, as always, for watching. I appreciate everyone's enthusiasm for this latest season of Against All Odds. It's been a pleasure recording The Long Dark, as always. Thank you to Hinterland for making one of my hands-down favorite games of all time. Don't let all this negativity fool you guys. This is one of the best games I've ever played, and I love it. It's an early access game, right? And so there are occasionally things where you have to go, all right, well, if you're going to make content on YouTube, how do you make it the most entertaining? But that doesn't mean that the core product is not outstanding. And the core product is outstanding. My hat, as always, is off to Raphael and his team at Hinterland for the work that they do. I appreciate them very much, and they know it, but I'm telling them again anyway. Thanks, as always, to all of you, developers or not, for watching. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think about all this stuff I just talked about. I really, really am looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next series.